Hello everyone, and welcome to more Professor Layton. When last we set off, we were with this guy, and he told us that our friend was possibly a crazy maniac who was only out for treasure. Now, we go find out the guy who can probably help us solve this case. Dun, 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 dun. Oh boy. Poke. Is this like the 40s? I think this is like the 40s.
Don't you sneak up on me like that! Who let a child in here?
Wow, that mouth was not synced up at all.
Child. I'm Luke Triton, apprentice to Professor Layton.
Yeah, you tell him.
Ah, of course. Inspector Groski. We should have known it was you. How did you get in here with all the competent police officers?
Emmy, how rude! If you're not careful, you might end up hurting my feelings. Guess I'll have to turn to my arrest record at Scotland Yard to cheer me up.
And how many of those arrests came with the professor's help? About half?
Yeah, I suppose that sounds about right. Good to see you too, Emmy.
Professor Layton, I presume.
Does somebody say this in every game? Professor Layton, I presume. First game, second game, third game, fourth game, fifth game. Can we get it in the crossover with Ace Attorney? I bet we can.
Inspector Leonard Bloom, senior detective at Scotland Yard.
You are very tan and/or black and/or Asian. Pacific Islander? What the hell are you? Seriously. He's blonde, black, and he has slinty eyes. But then again, Professor Layton's eyes are like dots. So I mean, what is Professor Layton? He looks Mexican. Nah, I'm kidding. Is he Spanish? I mean, he's English, but he might be Latino. He might be like from Spain or something.
Herschel Layton, how do you do?
I just realized he's not very white.
Wow, this must be a really big deal to dispatch two of Scotland Yard's finest.
I guess so.
I wonder how the local police feel about bringing in external help.
How did all these people get in my briefing room?
Whoa.
Who are these civilians? Where's my tea?
Chief Sheffield, may I introduce Professor Herschel Layton? Scotland Yard has solved many difficult cases with his assistance. I assure you, any help he can offer will be invaluable to us.
All right then. Just make sure he doesn't get in the way. Now, if we're done with the pleasantries, I'd like to get on with solving this case.
Groski's Rembrandt. Hello. Alright, let's get our meeting started before I turn gray. Too late. No, not yet. If you have anything to do, take care of them, blah 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 blah. How long has it been meeting last? Maybe we should run in place, or it's gonna be a while fitness, you know. You should try jogging your mind, Groski. If you've been finished with your business, please let Chief Sheffield know and let's get started. Alright. Let's get it started. Sure. Nobody better have go to the loo. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Let's not drag this out any longer than we need to. Grab a seat and sit in it.
Sit your ass down, you dumb... Why is everyone white but him? Everyone's white but me! Seriously, is every single person white but him? The fuck?
Bloom, the floor's all yours.
Please,
Racist ass
if you'll
fucking
give me your
police
attention,
force.
then perhaps I could help you apprehend the masked gentleman. Since you have proven yourselves to be astoundingly ineffective thus far, we've brought in some extra brain power to expose the truth behind these dark miracles. This masked buffoon has made 4 appearances. We will now dissect each one carefully.
Must estimate the adjustment of transactions into 40 and analyze the case. You have a special guest here. His skills of deduction unparalleled. Professor Layton, do you have anything to add? Yes, we have been investigating the masked gentleman on our own. Where shall I begin? Alrighty then. That's pretty cool. Oh, welly then. Welly. Let's begin with the most bizarre. Do you have any information on the horse accident? I've been able to gather very little on the incident specifically. However, I understand were witnesses. Indeed. Perhaps we could fill you in on what we know. Please do. Have you seen the statement we took from the witnesses at the scene? No, but I'd like to, if you don't mind. Solve the puzzle. I'll summarize the confirmed witnesses' statements, and they relate to the evidence and recovered at the scene. The event occurred at night. The carnival's parade was in full swing. As the parade approached a bend in the road, the masked gentleman appeared. I assume there was a large crowd? Yes, as it was expected, no doubt. A flash of light appeared in the sky, and the masked gentleman was seen on the ledge of a building. According to reports, the light grew intensely to the point of temporarily blinding the onlookers. When the light subsided, it appeared that some of the onlookers had been transformed into horses. Only a few personnel effects were left behind. The bodies of the tourists could not be found. Professor Bloom, do you have a theory as to what happened at that night? I do. Please allow me to confirm a couple of items before we continue. The parade was theirs happens at the same time, correct? Yes, it starts at 8 p.m. Were you able to confirm the identities of the tourists that were transformed? No, oddly enough, the tourist belongings contained no forms of identification. Thank you, Detective Bloom. Looking at the information at hand, I believe the truth is clear. The masked gentleman has obviously tricked witnesses into believing people have been turned into horses. There was one essential element to this manipulation in the crowd. Time of the parade. Of course. It was already dark by the time the parade began. It's much easier to pull off a trick at the eyes of the night. I agree, Layton. It's much more likely that the audience was missing something under the night sky. Several witnesses reported that they saw the tourists actually transform. I, however, am not a believer of the dark, equine arts. There were no tourists? Perhaps there were no tourists. There was nothing to suggest that, Layton. The witnesses ran away? What? Their eyes were closed? Oh yeah, because they were blind. I was like, what? By the time the horses appeared, the onlookers would have closed their eyes. Exactly. Against the night sky, the human eye would be sensitive to blinding light that was reported. The masked gentleman temporarily blinded those present to cover his actions. Horses were then immediately brought in as the so-called tourists left. But if that's true, there's still one thing left to explain. In the museum? I have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Down in the sewers? What the fuck are you talking about? Nearby alleyways. The nearby alleyways, one could hide them and down in various alleyways and bring them out of the plaza. Well done, Layton. I see your reputation is well earned. So I may summarize. First, it seems that the location of the act was key. Horses. The plaza is surrounded by several dark alleyways. Due to the bend in the road, the area is invisible until you entered it. Just before the event, everyone was absorbed in the parade. No one was paying attention to the alleyways. A white light suddenly appeared and blinding the crowd. In that moment, horses were drawn from the alleyways. Then people disguised as tourists left behind some belongings and hid somewhere, possibly back in the alleys. Once the witnesses had regained their sight, they saw the horses everywhere. Exactly. There's no evidence supporting the notion the masked gentleman had accomplices in the crowd. That's true, but isn't it suspicious that the personal belongings found in the scene contained no forms of identification? Also, they had been tourists. Their families would have undoubtedly filed the missing person report. Agreed. That was my conclusion as well. Puzzle solved. What is this, 40 and a half? So what, the masked gentleman's dark miracle is just some kind of stupid parlor trick? Yes, Chief Senfield, I am sorry to inform you that your simpletons was not actually magic, simply a well-executed illusion. I don't like that tone, Bloom. Here, take a break, folks. Bloom and I are gonna have a few words. Layton, find me when you're done. Don't care. Very Layton-esque. Reassuring people. Okay. Hello. By Crocker, I want to get on the next one. I'm interested in what you think about the incident in the museum. What do you know so far? We have reports of people jumping out of some paintings at the museum and defacing properly around town. Solve the puzzle. These individuals vandalized the area, you say? More than that, witnesses said the oddly dressed folks destroyed property, broke windows, nearly started a riot. Then they disappeared just as quickly as they reappeared. Did anyone actually see these people come out of the paintings? No, the museum was closed by then. So why do people think these individuals came out of paintings? The fuck? Well, apparently they were dressed just like people in some of the paintings that were displayed in the museum. Down to the finest detail. And when we checked the museum, we saw that the paintings were empty. What do you mean empty? I don't know how to say it. All the people in the paintings were gone. Only the backgrounds were left. Huh? Interesting. Gears must lie in the paintings themselves. That's what I thought, but we've thrown our best men at these paintings and haven't found a thing. Allow me to ask a few questions. Were the paintings valuable? No, they were all replicas, portraits mainly. I'm no art guy, but I wouldn't hang them up in my house, I can tell you that. Of course. Were the paintings from a common source? Yes, according to the museum's curator, they were all donated earlier that day. The majority of them were famous portraits that came from an anonymous donor. That can't be a coincidence. Whoever donated these paintings must be considered an accomplice to this. We looked into it, but nobody has any information on the donor. We interrogated the museum, and they all checked out clean and ignorant. A lot of them time spent, nothing learned. We must understand that how the illusion was created in order to find the truth. Unusually framed? No, that's not right. Oddly shaped? No. I don't really see what he's talking about. Strangely packaged. Were the paintings oddly packaged? The curator did say they were all vacuum sealed. He said the type of care was usually reserved for very rare items. I believe the airtight packaging is the key. The portraits were sealed and then they arrived and the parrots came in thick metal cases. The museum was strapped to the repellents with so much secure packaging, we didn't think much of it. My theory is correct. The donation must include specific display instructions. Shut up. When display, yeah. Were there instructions at the time the painting needed to display them? Oh yes, actually there were. Your deductive skills are impressive, Layton. The crates arrived in the morning with instructions they displayed exactly at noon. How did you know that? Well, therein lies the trick. Hiding. Hallucinogenic gas? Huh. Well, we did have a hallucinogenic rock in the second game. Spoilers. Vanishing paint. The portraits were treated as special paint that evaporates when exposed to air. Does such a thing even exist? Have you ever noticed that sunlight can cause the colors in a painting to fade? In a similar way, it's possible to create chemically reactive paints that will turn transparent when exposed to the air. Of course, you could make anything in the painting look like it just disappeared. The chemical process would have to run its course, so the timing must be precise. The seals were moved so that the paint would be turning transparent to coincide with the appearance of the vandals. The masked gentleman had these vandals dress up like the people in the portraits. Genius, or insanity. But Layton, we have no evidence to back this theory of yours. Well, I doubt such paint would disappear completely without a trace. If you examine the paintings for chemical residue, I'm sure you'll find the outlines of where your painted turns transparent. Fascinating. Well, we'll see what we find. Good work, Layton.